In today's activity, we are going to discuss the factors of 16 and 48. Now, we're going to consider whether a factor of a number is always a factor of multiples of that number. Yesterday, we said that we thought all the factors of 100 were also factors of 200 and 300, which are both multiples of 100. Then we said that we thought this idea would work for any multiples of 100. Some of you during that discussion noticed the same thing when we made arrays and found the factors of pairs of numbers, such as 25 and 50. You said that all the factors of 25 are also factors of 50, and so 50 is a multiple of 25. So do you think this is always true? That the factor of any number is also the factor of multiples of that number? Let's think about that for just a second. So is this true? Is it always true that the factor of a number is always the factors of a multiple of that number? Well, today we're going to try out this idea with another pair of numbers that are not multiples of 100, and we're going to see what happens. So let's think about the numbers 16 and 48. Now, what can you tell me about the relationship between the 16 and 48? So I want to give you just a moment to think about what can we see as the relationship between 16 and 48. You may have thought, well, 3 times 16 is 48. So how can we show that 3 16s make 48? You may have thought and said, well, I know that 16 plus 16, which is 2 16s, equals 32, and 32 plus another 16 equals 48. That's one way of showing it. Or you may have thought, well, I know that 3 times 10 equals 30, and I know 3 times 6 equals 18. So 30 plus 18 equals 48. That may be another way that you thought of it. So let's think about the factors of 16. We know that 1 times 16, or 16 times 1, equals 16. We also know that 2 times 8, or 8 times 2, equals 16. And finally, we know that 4 times 4 equals 16. So the factors of 16 are 1, 2, 4, 8, and 16. So this is today's question. Are all of the factors of a number also factors of a multiple of that number? So let's think about these two numbers. We know that 48 is a multiple of 16. But are all the factors of 16 also factors of 48? Let's think about that. So are all the factors of a number also factors of a multiple of that number? And you want to think about a very convincing argument. You want to convince someone, yes, they are, or maybe they're not. Now, we know that multiples are the same as skip counting, like 2, 4, 6, 8, and so forth. And we know that factors are the two numbers that we multiply together to get a product. So let's skip count by 16s and see if we reach 48. So when we skip count by 16s, we know that 16 times 1 is 16. We know that 16 times 2 equals 32, and 16 times 3 equals 48. So, I want to know if all the factors of a number are also factors of a multiple of that number. Well, I'm not looking for just a yes or no answer. I'm wondering, why is this true or why is it not true of a number, such as 16, or also factors of a multiple of that number, such as 48? And will this be true for other numbers? Today in your student activity book, you're going to be working on pages 43 and 44. And you are going to find a way to convince someone of your ideas. You can use a picture, a representation, anything that's going to make a very convincing argument. And then we'll come back together to discuss factors of 16 and 48.